Hey, how you all doing? I hope you're doing fine, having a great day. And if you're having a great day, I hope you put a whole lot of great days together and have a happy. So hopefully we'll have a happy while you're here. If you don't have a happy, then I'm not happy and you're not happy, so that'll make two of us that are not happy. And then if we got a couple of people who make a couple of comments that are not happy about us being not happy, and you not being happy, we're going to have a commentator making comments who's not happy. So let's all try to stay happy. Okay? Is anybody in the audience named Happy? Happy, come forward. Are you happy? Oh, this could go on endlessly. Anyways, we won't even get into the word titillating because otherwise I'll be off on a tangent again here. Okay, kidding aside, I do have a video here today that's going to make some sense, I think, while I'm staying happy. And I got a question from someone, and I am going to say that if you do have requests that you want to make for videos, please leave them in the comments. I did get a couple on one of my last videos, and I am going to follow through and do them. One of the questions that somebody asked me to do a video on is actually manifesting their mission and their own personal aspects of creativity, that they are personal goals of their own. And when they asked me the question, I was a little stunned for a moment because I couldn't figure out actually what they meant. Because for me, as I recall, when I finally woke up and started my spiritual awakening, I also discovered at the same time that that's when I discovered that I wanted to be of service to other people because it was fun and exciting and it was very stimulating. It was very growth oriented. Because prior to that, I wasn't having a hell of a lot of fun at all. As a matter of fact, as I recall, I reached a point in my life where I woke up one day and I said to myself, well, this is it. I'm going to go from birth to death. I'm just going to get married, raise a family, go to work every day, come home, put my feet up, hoist a few rockets on the weekend, go to a barbecue, blah, blah, blah. All right. Occasionally, and this is it. Inevitably, that kind of changed the perspective for me, and we won't go in that direction anymore. But once I started my spiritual awakening and the Kundalini awakening started, and especially I have to say here, after I had a heart center awakening, now I must also clarify a little something here, because I come from a generation that most of you never existed in. What happened was at that time, people didn't have awakenings like they do now. Awakenings consisted of basically a Kundalini awakening, and then you started the process of going through all of the changes of personality. There was no such thing at that point in time as another person coming in and acting as the button pusher, the catalyst, the twin flame, the soulmate, the soul-to-soul connection, the divine partner, and all the rest of that hoopla that goes along with it. And that's the way awakenings went. So from the time I began my active Kundalini awakening to the time I had a heart center awakening was 5 years. So in the meantime, I had 5 years to go through the personality changes, the environment, and all the rest of the, hoopla that goes along with it. But when I got to the heart center awakening, that changed everything. All right. And once that happened, what happened to me is I got involved with a meditation group because I got fed up with life as it was. And that's when I got the first inkling of any kind of a mission format. Now, before I go any further into this, I want to make something clear. For the whole length of time that I've been involved in the spiritual community, and especially on YouTube, when it comes to the mission format, I do get a multitude of requests in readings, and also when I'm doing counseling for people, they ask me, well, I really want to know what my mission is in life. I really want to know, since I'm a twin flame or whatever, what my mission is and where I'm going. I have to say something here now. Had anybody told me at the beginning of the time when I first awakened and I was going through all of the changes that I was going through. If anybody was going to tell me that I was going to be doing this, I was going to be doing channeled readings for people for 35 years now. I was going to be a Kundalini crisis counselor. I was going to evolve to being a transpersonal counselor also. I was going to create a healing modality out of going to a school in the etheric planes and doing hands-on healing for people for X amount of years. But most importantly, discovering that I had a very outgoing personality, that I had a great deal of confidence in myself as a person, and I had the ability to be able to tap in to the collective consciousness or source. And I have to be very, very honest with all of you. If anybody had told me that in the beginning, I would have probably dirtied my knickers right there on the spot. All right, for dirty your knickers means you crap your pants. That's what it means in English. All right, probably British people would understand that more than anybody else would. But if my mother was English, so therefore I picked up on some of her saying. So anyway, as I was saying, that's probably what would have happened. Now I understand. So people, when they ask me, I don't tell them. I can in a lot of cases, and I could if I really wanted to, but I don't for exactly that reason, because I don't feel that anybody's going to get a opening of the mission or the information or the bits and pieces of the mission and the creative abilities that go along with it until they have reached a level of spiritual maturity and also development of personality that they can handle the awareness, the knowledge, and the experience of such. I do believe that it will come in bits and pieces as the person evolves. In other words, I found with a lot of people who ask me the question about mission, if I kind of prod them a little bit and I ask them this question, what is it you're really right now at this particular point really passionate about that really floats your boat, gets your cork going, moves your mojo, gets the juices flowing, and gets you up and motivated up off your ass doing something? And usually they will come up with something, that they're very much interested in. And when they have some spare time, they will usually go back to it and look at it and read about it and perhaps dabble in it a little bit or buy a book or, a disc or something with some information on it. And they may do something about it or they may not. So I'm going to tell you how the mission got started for me. And this way it'll give you all of the steps that a person relatively has to have. And you can find this on many different areas of YouTube. In any kind of success motivational class, they'll tell you all the same things that I'm going to tell you right now. The only difference with me is I'm just an average person. I've always been an average person. I'm not exceptionally intelligent. I'm not overly bright. And I sure as hell am not educated in a sense. On the average, I have a grade 8 education. I never finished high school, which has probably worked in my favor because I don't have all that useless crap all into my head that I have to get rid of when the awakening started. So actually, I'm grateful for not having gone through the educational system. I probably couldn't get away with it in this day and age. But then again, I get away with a lot of stuff. So what can I say? I just might be able to swing that by without. I do know that some of the most creative, some of the most famous, and some of the richest people in the world have been illiterate, figuratively speaking. So in any case, I'll share with you my story, and that way I can't pick on anybody else. I don't like picking on anybody else. I mean, when did you ever hear me pick on anybody? Sheesh. How did that rumor ever get started? Okay, so the idea here that I find with a lot of people, and again, this is not criticizing people, this is just pointing out When it really got started for me is when I started a meditation class, going to a meditation class. And this is where I discovered a piece of the mission format. It's all about a path of discovery when you're doing this. And for me personally, the only thing I did was I went to the meditation class because I was bored. I was fed up with life as it was, and I wanted something different. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to find something that got me going, that gave me a reason to get up in the morning and not have to go to work and pack a lunch pail and get on the bus and drive to work and do the same old thing repetitiously day after day. Jeez, I get bored thinking about it. My motto now is this, and it's a very simple one about life. If I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it. It's that simple. And as you all can see, I'm having a lot of fun. I am. And because I'm having a lot of fun, I don't get bored. Do you know why people die? Because they're bored. And when they're bored, what do? They get sick. And when they get sick, they die. So get yourself on board with what you're doing. Find something creative that really gets you going. And you're off to the races. So anyway, I'm in a meditation class. And the lady comes to me one day. She said, Mel, I've got a problem. She says, I'm not going to be able to be here for 2 weeks. She says, can you teach the class? And I said, she looked at me and I said, are you kidding me? I said, no way, Jose, that's going to happen. Anyway, she bribed me, literally, as a friend, of course. And I didn't prepare anything for that class because I was too nervous, upset, I was sick to my stomach and whatever else. However, the funny thing is I led the class and I led the meditation. I didn't have anything prepared, no material or nothing. And it really went well, the first one. And the second one, even better. And when she come back, all the people were talking about, I really did well with it. And she said, I should start my own meditation class. And I said, me? Are you kidding? I said, I don't think so. So the funny thing was, when I went home and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and then I got this funny, really weird feeling in here, okay? Which I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was kind of like this warm glow. Every time I think about it, I get a warm glow. And as I'm thinking about it, I found myself doing something else. I found, strangely enough, that while I was thinking about it, this glow in my chest seemed to kind of correspond with the way I was thinking about it. Because when I was thinking about it, I was there. I could see myself doing it. I could feel the anticipation, the nervousness, as it was. I could feel how good it was going to make me feel just to go out and do something for somebody else and not worry about myself, my problems, my issues, my whatevers. And it just felt so good. Well, I kept thinking like that for a few days, and suddenly I talked myself into it. So I called her up, and I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a meditation class. Well, to make a long story short, again, you could call this coincidence. No, I don't think so. I think it's tapping into your inner potential. And I'm going to say something here that may be surprising to a lot of people, with the exception of somebody who may be born with some kind of mental disability or something like that. There isn't anyone on this planet, and I don't care what your circumstances in life are, or where you come from, what the color of your skin is, what your background is, what your environment is, because I come from a very, very shoddy background. All right? And my schooling didn't happen as a teenager. I was a survivor at 16. I'll check that, at 14, actually, in fact. So I never really had a chance to experience what most of you do. I learned how to survive quickly. So when it came to this, with all of the stuff that I had gone through, I got excited with the idea of it. And then I found a really strange thing happening. When I found I got excited about starting my own meditation classes, it happened. Really weird how it happened. Because as I found myself getting into the class, and I had put one together, and I had, within a month, I think, or 2 months, I had 19 people in the first one. Most of them were women. I had 2 men in one class, and then I ran into a problem. After 2 or 3 months, I had people who were getting really together as a group, as a team, and we were becoming like a group mind. And I couldn't add new people in, so I had to start another group. Some kind of a problem to have, right? When you got a problem, so you get creative. So in reality, I always see problems as an opportunity to be creative, more or less. All right. And sometimes I create my own problems just so I can be creative. Ever tried that? It's all how you think. Okay. And a lot of people's thinking stinks. Okay. If you got stinking thinking, you're never going to be creative. And if you're in one of those mental belief system loops, you're never going to get a chance to be creative because your mind is in a loop. It's not free to explore and to expand and to experience. This is turning into a good video. I like it. Okay, cool. Anyways, as I was saying, so I found something at that particular point was getting strange. I was getting hungry, I think is the word I would use. One of the things that I know about professional athletes especially, or anybody who's been really successful in life, they want it. And they make sacrifices. And you know, this is funny, in the twin flame community, you hear about people getting obsessed with this other person. All right? And many of you probably listening to this video or looking at this video, I say, oh yeah, I can remember that when I went through the obsession part with my twin flame. Oh yeah, I can remember that. It was insanity personified. Well, can you imagine that same reaction if you got obsessed in the same way with some attribute or creative ability that you had? Think about it. Think about it. That same obsession, because that's exactly what happened to me. I got hungry and I got obsessed and I wanted it and I was going to do anything it took to get it done. And the next thing you know, I had 3 classes going. And now I got another problem. Because in that class, I got a whole pile of people going through personal problems and situations and troubles in their marriages. And on top of all of that, a good majority of them at that time were going through Kundalini awakening. And they started calling me after the class. And of course, now I got a full-time job. And I'm working 3 shifts and I don't have weekends off. Most of the time. So now I got another problem. I got 3 meditation classes going. I'm doing channeled readings. And now I'm being dragged into doing counseling. Of course, I'm doing all the counseling and the phone calls are all for free and everything else. Nobody's really paying me for it. They're paying me for the classes, okay, obviously. And I got a full-time job. And now I got another problem. I don't have enough time to do all this stuff. I have a lot of problems in my life. I mean, I need help. I got problems. So instead of going into panic mode when I have a problem, I look at the problem and see if there's a solution. And there isn't a problem that there isn't a solution for if you get creative. You see. So as these little issues came up, I noticed that I was getting more and more enthusiastic, more and more excited, more and more hungry. And the same thing applied to when the channeling actually opened up for me. It was the same thing there. I noticed that when the channeling showed up, This was something that really got me going. Really got me. I was excited about it. I was enthusiastic about it. And you know what I did? I would come home after working graveyard shift. And if anybody doesn't know what graveyard shift is, that's from 11 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning. And you're up all night outside. I worked outside. Okay, at that time as a conductor on a railway. And come home, jump into bed, grab about 3 hours sleep. That's what I call it then, sleep. Grab about 3 hours, get up, and I would be going and getting people to come over and sit with me some practice so that I could do channeling because I wanted it. I was dedicated. I was committed. This is what it takes. When you find the first initial one or two things, the trick is to find the one that resonates with you the most. It doesn't have to be a real biggie, but it's got to float your boat, tickle your fancy, get your juices flowing, and get your mojo going. There's no point in going out and running to a psychic or a seer or a channeler and say, well, I want to know what the rest of my mission is so I can plan ahead. That shit don't work. You got to get involved in what's being given to you. And that little piece of something, if you get yourself into it, your whole persona, your whole psyche, your whole energy field is going to change and radiate differently. Most people who come on my YouTube channel here can tell right away, I like what I'm doing. They can feel it, they can sense it, and some people can even see it. How I switch back and forth between my masculine and my feminine when I'm doing a video. I'm a master at it. I've been doing it for years. And there are lots of people out there who can do it, and they're not even aware of it. The key that I found in bringing the mission into manifestation was balance. Balance of mental faculty, balance of emotional faculty, and a balance in your life to the best of your ability. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Reasonably close will do. So as I got hungrier for the channeling, I would nothing short of pay people to come and sit with me to practice the channeling. That's how committed I was. I was hungry. I wanted it. I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it well. And I didn't even care if I ever got paid for it. I just wanted to do it because it added to my repertoire of things that made me feel good. And I'm only talking about me here. I'm not talking about anybody else, nor am I criticizing anybody else. I'm just pointing out to you that success is attainable to everyone who wants to do, whether you call it a mission in life or your personal achievements that you want. Everyone has the potential, and it's up to you to discover what that potential is. Let me tell you something. People with potential are a dime a dozen. There are more people with potential sitting at home watching TV, or going out entertaining, or sitting in the ball game in the chairs and watching everybody else do it. The difference is, how hungry are you? Are you prepared to forego what your friends think? Are you prepared to forego what your family thinks? Are you prepared to forego what your spouse or partner thinks in order to achieve the mission that you want to do of being of service to other people? Now, you can call that the twin flame mission, the soulmate mission, the soul-to-soul connection, the divine partnership connection mission, whatever you want, doesn't matter. I'm giving you the ingredients of what it takes to be successful at this particular point. Too many people have become what I call weekend warriors. Okay, weekend warriors, usually they have a good paying job, probably one they don't like all that much, but they can't give it up because they've gotten accustomed to a good life because of the job that they have. Or the other thing is, they have a partner that has a very good income, and there's no need for them to do anything, so they can do it on a part-time or a weekend basis or whenever the hell they feel like it. So how far do you think those people are going to go or ever going to be successful? Because they're never going to get hungry. They're never going to go on a path of real self-discovery of what their mission is. So they're going to go through life half-ass fulfilled. One thing that I can say in passing through this time through, I never really found myself till I was 37, but I can tell you ever since then, I have enjoyed the ride. Because I participated in the ride and I learned how to steer the wagon, so to speak, and I don't spill a lot of stuff going down the road. So when you get hungry, something happens to your energy field. Now, I want to add in another component at this particular point of the video. Recently, in the last, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong here, 20 years, we've had a massive awakening where we have been gifted with the marvelous mechanism of a source creative chakra and the activation of it in the middle of the chest. And many of you have felt the symptoms of the spiraling, the burning, the heaviness, the hard breathing initially, the physical symptoms, the erratic heartbeat. You go and get checked and you know you're not going to drop dead. They found your heartbeat's erratic and you're all over the place and blah, 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 and the rest of it. And what's happened is now it can happen even faster. What is the first thing, the very first thing that happens when the heart center activates? The very first thing. The regrowth of your whole personality and your belief systems, your psyche as a whole, is completely remodeled. How much you resist the process based on the in-depth of the belief systems that you've taken in depends upon you, the individual. But at some point, you learn to do or will experience the same thing that I experienced some years ago of combining the imaginative faculty directly in the heart center chakra, which I've been trying to get through to people in some of my videos in the meditations that I'm doing. That's why I don't add in bells and whistles, because when I do those meditation videos, I've been changing how you've been doing them. I've been doing them simply by leading you in or just talking you through it verbally, because I'm trying to get people to understand. We don't need all the bells and the whistles and the bells and the chimes and the smoke and the grass and all of that stuff that goes along with it. We don't require that. That is for people who have not reached a level of spiritual maturity, who have the understanding of the consciousness they're going through. And yes, I'm going to get some flack from that statement. You don't need all that shit. And that's another reason why I don't have thumbnails for my YouTube channel. There's never any music. And I don't wander around from all over the place to the garden and to the nature and down to the lake and all of the rest of that crap. I keep it as simple as possible, because while you're here, I want your attention. I want you to be able to listen to what I have to say, to feel what I have to say, and then to decipher, digest, or simply spit it out. So I work a method called simplicity. You heard that word before? Simplicity is a lost art in our world, a lost art. I'm going to bring it back, one way or the other, especially in where I'm going. And any of you who want to learn the art of simplicity, hey, hang out with me. I'm Mr. Simple. So, now, once you get going with whatever floats your boat the most first and work on that one, what will happen is as the wheel gets turning and you put it into motion, the next thing that you already know, oh, let me make something clear here. Everyone who comes in, who is a volunteer or a graduate soul, or whatever label you want to put to it, who has a pre-plan of how they want to be of service. Everyone knows already what the mission is. Let me put it that way. You already know. There's no such thing as discovering it. It's already there prior. The problem is it's buried under all of the muck and shit of life, upbringing, environment, society. Religious indoctrination especially is the biggest killer of creativity of all. All right. And the next thing is environmental situations. And the other thing is food intake. Those three things are the three things that destroy creativity quicker than anything. Because it keeps piling on belief systems on top of belief systems. So in reality, there's nothing wrong with belief systems as long as you're creating your own belief system. The problem that goes on with this planet at a particular point in time is, and I've said this before, is so many people out there are after you every day to modify your behavior to suit their convenience. Are you aware of that? How many of you are in relationships right now where your partner is trying to change you by modifying your behavior to suit their convenience? That could be your parents, your mom, your dad. It could be friends, whatever. And because you don't conform to their concept of how you should be based on how it should be, how are you ever going to be successful at anything? So you got to get rid of all that crap. So what you need to do is you need to do something. And that is be comfortable in your own skin and stop wearing your skin for the pleasure of everybody else. And I learned to do that. I'll tell you how that happened. At the time that I was discovering all of this, and before I bought myself a house and moved in on my own, I was with a very nice lady who assisted me into this, got me started, and I'm ever grateful to her. And once I got rolling and I'm very successful at it, and I'm hungry for more and I want to be of service more, I just love helping people. I come home one day from work and I'm scheduling my stuff for the next few days, the class and the rest of the stuff and everything else that's going on. She walked up to me and she said, and I'll never forget it, she said, "Mel, why can't you be like other men?" She said, "Why can't you just come home from work, whatever, put your feet up on the coffee table, read the paper, have a beer, and relax and watch TV?" And I looked at her and I said, "Are you kidding me?" I left. I had made a decision that I was tired of being for other people. I was going to be for me, whether they liked me or not. I was going to live my life for me. And to live my life for me, I wanted to be of service to other people and discover the potential that I knew that now laid inside of me. So I got hungrier. This is one of the problems that I find with a lot of people, not hungry. Not hungry enough. I don't care how much potential you've got. If you're not hungry enough, and if you don't want it, if you're not prepared to make the sacrifice, you're not prepared to put the effort in, it's not going to happen. And the other thing that I started to see, especially with this as it's unfolding, I always see problems as a creative opportunity. Most people see this problem as something they have to deal with, and they have to work through, and they have to get over it. Even when I was going through the beginning, when my personality was going through all of the changes, and I was into what other people call the dark night of the soul, which really is a really crappy name for it. Okay, it's just a remodification of your state of consciousness, where you get into that depressed state. I never really got to the point where I didn't see it as a positive, because I knew internally that some changes were taking place with my personality. I knew it wasn't permanent. The problem is with most people is they panic and they think it's permanent. They're going to be that way for a long time. And guess what? They do. They stay that way. They do. Because they can't get out of it because of the belief systems that hold them in there. So in any case, what has happened at that particular point is now it's evolved. When I said in the beginning, hey, and I'm doing YouTube videos now, I'm doing a whole pile of other things. I'm teaching my modality to a whole pile of practitioners all over the world, which really gives me a rush. And now, at this point, after many years of putting it all together, oh, and I want to mention something here just for the sake of success. Success is not achieved in an overnight flash. One of the things that I have learned, and I will teach to anybody that I'm ever working with, you've got to be consistent. Stay with it in the long term. I've been up on YouTube now almost 12 years. 12 years. And there have been times when I wanted to quit and give it up. And either Nicole or myself has talked myself out of it. And I did the right thing. Too many people who have potential who start something are like a flash in the pan. Because they're not hungry enough and they're not committed enough, they won't stay at it long term. I don't know how many times I've been up and I go up on YouTube and I take a look at some of the YouTubers that are up there, especially in the twin flame thing. You know, they come and go a dime a dozen every year. I can go up there and see 50 that are up there now who won't be there 6 months from now or a year from now. They'll all be gone because they don't have it. They're not consistent. They're a flash in the pan. They're not committed. They can't go the long term. If you're going to, this overnight sensation is about as rare as gold teeth in a chicken. You're not going to be an overnight sensation. In reality, there's no such thing. You have to be consistent, and that's one of the things that I always did. When I was doing a lot of this stuff, it didn't always work. And I would run into the problems. And the problem would give me a situation of being creative. I didn't get depressed about it. This is what it takes to be successful. And the beauty of this is as you're going through this successful birth of this new you who came to be of service to others, you acquire a state of consciousness that is radically different than what is had now. Because now what's happening, because of the activation of the heart center chakra, you can combine the imaginative faculty directly in. You may have noticed in some of my videos, I've been telling people to take the imaginative faculty, and I'm giving this information all for free. I'm not charging you for this. Okay? Every once in a while, some of you get generous and you drop me a donation or two, which I greatly appreciate it. All right? But I'm doing this for free. Other people are giving the same information, are charging hundreds of dollars for the information I'm giving you for free. I mean, you should get your friends and your family and everybody else listening to my video. I'm doing it for free. And even giving it for free, some of you don't get it. So let's get it together and get it. Oh, I like that. Let's get it together and get it going. Get it? Good one. All right, let's get on with it. So, as we're doing this, what happens is this is another thing that I've noticed is people are constantly talking about retirement. All right? Even young people nowadays in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, they're looking forward to retirement. They're looking forward to sitting back and taking out their RRSPs or their saving funds or their whatever and sitting back on the lawn and having a martini or going to Cancun or wherever the hell it is they want to go or live in Mexico. And you know what? All of those people got a lot of money and a lot of them are dead. Why? Because they retired. For me, there is no such thing as retirement. It doesn't exist in my consciousness. I will do this till the day I leave, whenever that may be and in whatever form it takes, and I will love every friggin' moment of it. That's the difference between me and a lot of other people. Now you can change around the schematics that I'm talking about with a little bit of variation, but the basic format of what I'm saying you can find in others. They're saying the same thing. I'm adding in a couple little tricks and turns that they don't have yet. But the heart center chakra, which is source creative energy that gives you access to source creative energy, gives you co-creative ability, can manifest this if you use it the right way. First of all, for yourself. Create you. Don't let somebody else create you. You create you, and then you create your world, your dimension, your reality in your way. And others will come and be attracted to you because they will vibrate with what you're doing and what you're saying. And the others who don't will simply fall away and they won't be there anymore. And the other thing is this, and I'm going to say this. I am going to be 76 in a few more months, and my mental faculties and my access to consciousness exceeds most of you at half my age. Why? Why is that happening? Why is it I'm not sitting on a lawn chair someplace, or they're wheeling me around in a wheelchair, or I've developed some kind of mental disability, Alzheimer's or whatever else, and the rest of that shit that's going around that all the people seem to get when they get older. And this is why people don't want to get older, because they're afraid they're going to get all of this stuff. Well, if you deal with what you got to deal with now and eliminate all of the belief system bullshit, you won't have these problems. And that's what I did. I started eliminating all of the belief systems and all of the ingrained inheritance gifts from my parents and their belief systems, ideologies, and idiosyncrasies, and imperfections in their personalities and flaws. I acquired all of them and then got rid of them. Am I perfect? No. Am I doing good? Oh, yeah. I'm doing very good. Am I going to do better? Yes, I am. Why? Because I got something in here besides an empty space, and I don't fill it full of pot, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and environmental shit. I keep it as clean as possible. So therefore, I'm going to be here for a considerable period of time. Because as I have been doing and changing my consciousness and evolving and growing, the body has no choice but to follow suit. No, I am not and don't have the stamina I did when I was 45 physically. I don't need it. Because my environment and the way that I be of service to others doesn't require me running around like a chicken, entertaining myself or going there and going there. I have created my own dimension, my own reality, and my own perspective, and I'm totally happy in my environment, and I've done very well, and I'm going to do better. And this keeps the mental faculty going. This keeps me visually. If you could share my dream state at night, you wouldn't believe the creative endeavors at 76 that I'm still doing in the dream state. I really turn it loose when I get in the dream state. I'm going to share with something. I got a video stored away here that I may put up one day that I discovered that when I go to bed is when I actually wake up. When I wake up in the morning and get up for the day, I'm asleep. So this world right here that we're living right now, day by day, this is the dream world. This is the dream state. This is an illusion. The real world, for me, exists when I close my eyes and go to sleep. Then I'm actually waking up and I'm living. I'm doing things. I'm creating things. I'm being things. It has to reflect into what I'm doing right now. I'm in the dream state. When I go to bed tonight, I'll wake up and have fun. You see? I think differently than a lot of people do. But I know that a lot of people who are subscribers of mine that think the same way that I do. Now, success. If you can go into what I've just said, and we're getting into a long video here. Again, I'm not going to apologize. It happens. It happens. If you're going to be successful, those are the key points that you have to be mindful of. Consistency. Using the heart center chakra, the creative center, and the imaginative faculty together. I've been doing that by giving meditations in some of the videos to do that, to set up something. You need to set up a template or a protocol of an energetic belief system or a template within your etheric or sheath body for success. Once you set it up, then the programming that you have put in, as a soul, or whatever label you want to call it, before you came in to this particular dimension, can manifest. That's the secret to success. This is not rocket science, folks. It's very simple. The problem is we have a whole lot of people who don't want us to discover our identity and the potential that lies within each and every one of us. So this is what is happening. So you have to eliminate that stuff, and you have to be creative. And you can be creative right up into your 80s and 90s and still function and still have fun. I'm never going to retire. Retirement is the stupidest statement I've ever heard people talk about. You're not here to retire. You're here to create. And I'm going to leave it at that point. Have a great day, everyone. This one's been fun. Take care.